My name is Shaina Gunn and I am 19 years old, and this is the story about how I lost my stepdad. When I was 15, my mom came in my room and told me that my Nana, which is my stepdad's mom, had a heart attack in the middle of the night and passed away. And that's when it all really started. My stepdad was a mama's boy, and he was really close with his mom. And my stepdad raised me from age 2 up until 15. And so that was my father in my eyes. He was my father figure. He taught me everything. He supported me and was always there for me when I needed him, and we were really as close as can be. After his mom passed away, he got really depressed and just started going downhill really fast. He never really talked about it, at least not to me, and he started staying out late and not coming home till like late, and we were just concerned. And he started acting really different, and me and my mom had a feeling that he might be on drugs, and we started looking up like signs and symptoms of like the different types of drugs, and we came to the conclusion that he might be taking meth. Life at home just started to get really rough. He became a completely different person. He went from being the person that I loved the most to somebody that I didn't know anymore, really. The drugs made him somebody that I couldn't recognize. It was very, very emotional time. I didn't know what to do, what to think, how to handle it. He was living in and out of the house because my mom was trying to keep our family safe. My little brother, which is my stepdad's son, and me and her, she was keeping us in her best interest in that time because, like I said, he was not the same person he was before. We started to develop paranoia, schizophrenia, and he thought people were out to get him. He would come home freaking out. He would accuse my mom of things. He would get mad at us for things that were unrealistic. He would be home and think people were outside watching him, thinking people were out to kill him, just things that made no sense and were just really hard to comprehend. So all of this led up to my worst nightmare, basically. This is something that I never would have expected growing up, never would have expected. Like, just thinking about this, if you would have told me this is gonna happen when I was younger, I would have told you, no way, like, you're wrong, it's not. So anything can happen, really. Me, my mom, and my brother, my mom got a call from my stepdad he asked if we could come pick him up because his truck had ended up getting towed, so he didn't have a way to ride anywhere. So me and my mom and my brother went and picked him up from one of his friends' houses, and we were on our way home, and on our way home in the car, me, my mom, and him ended up getting into an argument, and it got really heated, and we were all screaming at each other, and we pull in the driveway, and he gets out and slams the door, and in the neighborhood I was living in at the time, there's a ditch like a 2-minute walk away, and that's where he went to walk to, and there's like a little creek, and me and my brother followed him, and my mom came too, and we were talking, and again, we were just arguing and things got heated, and he said something that was really hurtful to me, and he said that I never loved him, and that completely crushed me when he said that. And I told him that I did love him, and I always have, and he just wasn't the same person that he was before he started taking drugs. He was not the same person. So after that, the arguing continued, and he had a gun on his side he carried, and he took it out and shot it at the ground about 3 times, and that caused a lot of commotion. And we ended up walking back to the house, and he continued to stay there, and we ended up walking back to the ditch to check on him, and then he just, again, same things, arguing, hurtful things, just bad. It was really bad. And we ended up walking back to the house, and my friend comes over and starts talking to me and asks me what's going on, like, do I need to call the cops? And I proceed to tell her, no, don't call the cops. That'll like make everything worse. That'll just escalate the whole situation, and I know that'll be bad. And then shortly after that, I proceed to hear sirens, and come to find out, other people had, of course, called because they heard around a fire and it startled them. So neighbors had called the police, and they show up, and next thing I know, I'm standing on my front porch and I hear a whole round of fire set off, and I don't know what to think. My heart sinks into my stomach, and I'm just like, okay, like, let's go up there, let's make sure everything's okay, let's go see what happened. Like, I'm trying to think the best I can possibly think right now. We're standing up there, and we keep asking what happened, what's going on, like, can we please get some answers? Nobody is answering me and my mom, nobody's telling us what's going on, and we're just trying to keep the best thoughts that we can. And my uncle calls because my mom had already called him and her stepmom to inform them of everything that had just went on. And he calls and informs my mom that his friend lives around the neighborhood and saw the coroner. And that's when we knew that he was gone. And me and my mom dropped to the ground and to our knees and just lose it. It's just crazy to think that you could lose somebody within minutes, seconds, and you never would have thought that that day would come so soon. He was 32, and him being who I looked up to as my dad just completely broke me. I lost a parent, and that's never something easy to deal with for anyone. After it happened, I blamed myself for a really long time, because when he told me that I didn't love him, for a long time, I was thinking he genuinely felt that way. Like, I didn't show him that I cared enough, I didn't do enough, I should have made him go get help. But as time went on, I've come to realize that the drugs made him somebody that he wasn't, and that wasn't him, and I know that that wasn't him, and I know that he knew that I loved him, and he still does. And I know that he knows my whole family loved him, and that we supported him, and that I couldn't force him to get help. He had to want to help himself before I could help him. And there's not really a way I could have changed it, but if I could, I definitely would have. I still, to this day, cry and wonder why it happened so abruptly, and I wonder why he had to go so soon. It sucks to think about that he wasn't there to see me go to prom. he isn't gonna be there to walk me down the aisle. You know, all the big events in my life that I was looking forward for him to be there with me. But I know that he'll be there spiritually. And it really sucks to think about how my brother will never really know his dad that well because he was so young when all of this happened. He was 2, I believe. So his memories of him will be faint, but luckily we have a lot of pictures and videos for memories. And I just have to remind myself that time will go on and things do get better. And after everything that happened, I did hit a really rough spot and I did become really depressed. And my anxiety was, I encountered that, and I had never encountered anxiety before after that traumatic event. And I had trouble breathing, and I would cry every night and have these episodes multiple times a day. And eventually I decided to go talk to someone, and I started to get counseling. And I would talk to my counselor about how I'd been feeling, how I have had suicidal thoughts, and how I felt like there wasn't a purpose for me here anymore, and I've lost one of the most important people in my life, and I don't know how to handle it. And I was in counseling for 6 months, and I will say that it did help me a lot. It helped me a whole lot. It helped to know that there was somebody I could tell anything to and not be judged. And she helped me come up with mechanisms to cope and help me realize that I do have a reason to be here and that my life is important and that I need to keep pushing. And now my mom and my brother are my rock, and they're the reason that I'm still here, and they are the reason that I am still pushing forward to this day. And I also will keep pushing to make my stepdad proud of me. I also wanted to say that if any of you are feeling down, lonely, upset, depressed, that it's okay to reach out, and you can do it however you feel, to where you feel comfortable with doing it. And you can reach out to me. My tag will be in this video, and I'm more than willing to listen and hear you out. Or you can reach out to somebody professional that can talk to you, because I recommend it does help. Or you can always reach out to the suicide hotline at 1-800-273-8255.
Take me back.